Good afternoon. Peel police are on the hunt for two suspects following a deadly daylight shooting in Brampton.
It happened yesterday afternoon, and police are urging anyone with information to come forward. CTV's John Musselman has been following the investigation and joins us live with more details. John.
Well, Nathan, as you can see behind me, there's still a large police presence here as they continue this investigation. Here's what we know. Around 3:38 yesterday afternoon, police were called here after reports of gunfire. We talked to a number of neighbors in the area. They say they heard multiple shots fired. It happened in an intersection in this area near Sandalwood Parkway and Chinguacousy. We're told that the victim was able to make his way back to the home. He was then brought out by emergency crews. They're performing CPR. He was taken to a hospital, but he did not survive. Now, the concerning thing for residents here, again, this happened on Sunday afternoon at 3:38 in the afternoon. There was people out walking their dogs. There's kids on bicycles, people having a barbecue, and the gunfire is going off. Here's what people had to tell us just a short time ago.
I was on my phone, and I thought all I heard was loud bang. So when I heard I think it was 6 consecutive bangs, it was all perfectly timed to one another. Bang, 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 bang.
All part of the investigation. At this time, we can't tell if they are known to each other, but there appeared to be at least an altercation between the parties before the rounds were fired.
Now, at this point, we don't know what the motive is for this shooting. We know that police are looking for at least 2 suspects in dark clothing. Police are on the scene canvassing the neighborhood for any security video at this time. We'll have much more on the story tonight on CTV News at 5 and 6. Reporting live, I'm John Musselman. I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, John. Peel police are continuing their search for a driver in a deadly hit-and-run in Mississauga. Now, a woman in her 30s was struck at Eglinton and Erin Mills Parkway near Credit Valley Hospital shortly after 6 Sunday morning. She was taken to hospital where she later died. The vehicle involved was last seen heading east on Eglinton. Police say they have security and dash cam footage and are confident they'll be able to identify the driver. Investigators are calling on the person involved to find a lawyer and turn themselves in.
An investigation is underway following a stabbing at a Scarborough apartment building. Police called to the building in the area of Kingston Road and Lawrence Avenue East just after 5:30 this morning. When they arrived, they found a woman who had been stabbed. She was taken to hospital, but there's been no update on her condition. Police have not provided details on possible suspects.
York Regional Police are searching for 2 suspects in connection with a smash and grab robbery in Richmond Hill. Investigators have released images of the men that they're looking for. Both are described as being between 30 and 40 years old and roughly 5'6". The pair are accused of breaking open glass cases and stealing electronics from a store near High Tech Road and Red Maple Road on Sunday. Police are asking anybody if they know anything to come forward.
There was a house fire in Pickering. Emergency crews called to a home in the area of Rosebank Road and Rougemont Drive shortly before 10:30 a.m. Police say all the residents in that home were able to make it out safely. No injuries reported. The cause of the fire is under investigation.
Still to come, the Prime Minister is expected to announce which company is going to build Canada's next submarine fleet. We'll have those details a little later in the newscast. But first, Canada may be eliminated from the World Cup and Toronto's hosting duties may be over, but the city continues to be gripped by football fever.
There is expected to be a big turnout in Nathan Phillips Square this afternoon as people tune in to see Spain square off against Portugal. Our Jessica Smith joins us live now from the square with more on the action. Jess.
You know what, and it's my favorite price to come down here and watch the game, which is free. It's still pretty early, but I've seen a few Spain jerseys, a few Portugal jerseys, but a lot of folks excited to come on down. The weather much more agreeable as we head throughout our afternoon as well. Lindsay will have more details on that, but for both teams down in Arlington, Texas, as they head into the afternoon, it will be into the mid-30s, feeling into the 40s. So if you can't be there, you might as well come on down here. But again, we're watching 2 football powerhouses face off this afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern time between Spain and Portugal. We all know Cristiano Ronaldo. There was a scene here in the city of Toronto. Both Cristiano and the team gave props to our city as to how they received them, all the excitement. But they're facing off against Spain with Lamine Yamal, the young phenom, and it is going to be exciting. Now, Spain, not necessarily the favorite, although they are a football powerhouse. So we're going to have to wait and see. But as you mentioned, although Canada is out of the World Cup after an historic run, still lots of action down here at Nathan Phillips Square. The fields are still set up. A lot of people excited. Again, it's early, but I'm seeing a few kind kind of Portugal jerseys trickling around, a few Spain jerseys trickling around. So we'll have to wait and see what the turnout looks like. But we know little Portugal here at Nathan Phillips Square over at FIFA Fan Fest that we are going to see massive crowds. There are huge communities for both teams, so it's going to be fantastic. We'll have more coming up later on, but I'll throw things back inside to Michelle.
Look forward to it. Thank you, Jess. Canada's men's national soccer team returned home last night following their historic World Cup run.
We're going to look back on this 6 weeks fondly and just remember, what we did as a nation and what we did as players and how we helped grow the game of soccer in Canada, which was our goal that we set out to do.
So the support, the love, the liveliness in every city was unbelievable for all of us.
Hopefully with the momentum that we brought it from this tournament, we can continue to push on and push forward and, try to go even further in the next one. And hopefully we inspire the generation of younger Canadian kids to come help us do that.
Players and staff spoke following their arrival at Pearson. The team lost 3-0 to Morocco in the round of 16 and became the first host nation eliminated from this tournament. However, that represents Canada's best ever finish at the World Cup, as the country had previously never made it out of the group stage. And despite the end of Canada's World Cup run, there is plenty of optimism for the future of the sport in this country.
CTV's Kamal Karamali has more on the impact the tournament is already having on the pitch.
Canada, whose World Cup ends.
Less than 24 hours after Canada was knocked out from a historic FIFA World Cup run, these Canadian kids dropping everything to take to the pitch, ready to pick up where the national team left off, inspired, motivated to one day take the men's squad to the next level, something 12-year-old Riley Ross dreams of doing.
It would be really good to represent my country. Lots of people watching me.
Youth soccer camps like this one have been reporting a surge in kids signing up in the past few years, adding to the sport's growing momentum across the country.
We only had maybe 1-2 teams per year, and now we're up to, I think we have about 30 teams here plus going, so it's growing.
A chain reaction from Canada's performance in the last 2 World Cup tournaments, but now the real work begins.
The game throughout the country has to get better, has to continue to grow, because it's all part of the big picture.
So what does that look like? Canada is on the right track, but the next step would mean more infrastructure, like soccer residency centers.
A lot of the other football nations have that and have that established. So a place where not only our kids can grow, but they can get professional training.
And more youth academies with a direct pipeline to professional teams. Right now, there are 3 Canadian Major League Soccer teams with programs that scout youth and help them grow their talents. Other soccer nations have many more, but the birth of the Canadian Premier League about a decade ago can help with that.
Hopefully, he pays close attention to finding an infrastructure that is a pathway that is constantly pushing kids to the next level.
Alex.
So fear not, football fans. Canada's World Cup run appears to be just the beginning, with the team's future
Watching it just made me see how good I need to be.
In good hands and great feet. Kamal Karamali, CTV News, Toronto.
Portuguese soccer team FC Porto is doing its part to help grow the game in Canada.
Members of the squad are hosting a youth soccer camp at Weston Lions Park. And CTV's Mike Walker is there and joins us live with more. This sounds like fun, Mike.
It is a lot of fun, Nathan and Michelle. You can see over 100 kids here on the pitch. Now, FC Porto is one of the most historic and successful professional football clubs in Portugal. And this week, 4 of its youth academy coaches are here in Toronto for an intense week-long training session. Now, as part of this camp, the kids are being put through a number of drills. As I said, there are more than 150 young soccer players from soccer clubs across the city between the ages of 6 and 17 taking part in this camp, which is a partnership with the North York Academy and FC Porto. The coaches from FC Porto are UEFA certified and are rotating these players through a number of drills and are using FC Porto's official academy methodology. It's the same methodology the pros use back in Portugal, helping these young players develop their technical and tactical skills, and most importantly, build their confidence. We spoke with a number of these young players who all tell us they have some professional aspirations. Here's more from them about this unique opportunity.
Honestly, we're very lucky to have people of this class, and we're very excited to see what we learn more.
It's definitely like professional standards, and it's like good coaches. Like they bring experience that they played in, and it's just setting up for like the pro environment.
I hope I learn new things so that I can play more maybe professional when I grow up, because they've already taught me so much from just today.
It's an excellent opportunity for all Canadian players to learn a European methodology, specifically from FC Porto, the way they play, their technical training, their tactical training. And as you can see, the kids are having a great time and they're learning at the same time.
Now, FC Porto hosts its world training camps for young soccer players in cities across the world. This is the first time it's holding a partnership for a camp like this one with the North York Academy here in Toronto. Reporting live on Mike Walker. Nathan, back to you.
All right. Thank you, Mike. We have more news in a moment, but first a look at the forecast. There's a live shot of the city at Nathan Phillips Square. We know there's another big game happening later on today, so the knockout stage not over. Don't forget, it's still summertime. The sun is shining, and we still have to take precautions, even though that heat wave is over. Lindsay Morrison has a look at the current conditions. Hey, Lindsay.
Hey, Nathan. Yeah, that heat wave so fresh in the minds of so many. It was just last week, and it wasn't that long ago that we were feeling like 40. Right now, 25 degrees, feeling more like 29, a little more manageable. And temperatures are near seasonal in most areas right now and will be through a good portion of the afternoon. We do have an east wind today, and that's going to keep some lakeside communities just a little bit cooler. And depending on where you're joining us from, you may be encountering some wet weather between Hamilton, Niagara, and certainly along the shoreline of Lake Erie. It's a bit of an unsettled day, but here in Toronto proper, we are enjoying a mix of sun and cloud and will through the rest of the afternoon. 26 degrees, likely to feel more like 33 at the warmest point of the day. UV index, we're at an 8 or a high, very high, I should say, here in the GTA. Coming up, we're going to talk about our chances of wet weather this week and give you an idea of what the temperature trend looks like heading into next weekend. That's ahead. For now, though, Nathan, back to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. There's a new stop on the Kitchener GO line today. Metrolinx is now offering service to Stratford 7 days a week. For now, one train will head east to Union in the morning and return back to Stratford in the afternoon. The service will run year-round. Premier Doug Ford is in Calgary today, meeting with his Alberta counterpart, Danielle Smith.
The pair spoke earlier this morning proposing the creation of a new pipeline. CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief Siobhan Morris joins us live now with the details. Siobhan.
Well, this builds on a meeting and an agreement that the two premiers signed around this time last year at the Calgary Stampede, looking for new opportunities to collaborate on energy. They also signed a memorandum of understanding back in the fall to look at the feasibility of building a pipeline from west to east here in Ontario. We know that the Premier of Saskatchewan is also on board. So today we heard more about the proposed route for this pipeline. It would land in refineries in Sarnia. The idea is that it would run some 3,300 kilometers moving oil from west to east without having to dip into the United States. The premiers have said that's very important, of course, in the current economic and political climate, with some volatility coming from south of the border. So far, the Premier of Manitoba is not yet on board. Here's more of what we heard from Doug Ford this morning.
We need to move quicker, faster, immediate. That is why I'm thrilled to be here today, making progress on our agreement from last year as we unveil the route for the Northern Shield Energy Corridor. The Northern Shield Energy Corridor will include a new pipeline built using Canadian steel by Canadian workers that will bring oil from Hardisty, Alberta, to new and expanded refineries in Sarnia, Ontario, including Sarnia's vital energy and shipping routes. The Northern Shield Energy Corridor would move on estimated 500,000 barrels of oil per day, with the ability to expand to 800,000 barrels per day, bringing new capacity to Ontario refineries and delivering critical redundancy for existing pipelines.
There's still some unanswered questions here, especially around cost, how much this might ultimately cost and whether it is something that will be borne by a private company, if there will be any taxpayer dollars involved. The feasibility study is continuing. Reporting live from Queen's Park, I'm Siobhan Morris. Michelle, back to you.
Thank you, Siobhan. Ontario Liberal MPP Rob Serjanik has dropped his bid to become the party's next leader. Serjanik, who represents Ajax, posted a statement on social media saying he made the decision to suspend his campaign following conversations with his family and supporters. There are now 4 remaining Liberal leadership candidates: former Liberal MP Navdeep Bains, Toronto MPP Lee Fairclough, housing advocate Eric Lombardi, and former political staffer Dylan Mirando. Liberal Party members will begin voting for a new leader November 9th, with the choice announced November 21st.
Prime Minister Mark Carney is heading to Turkey later today for a summit of NATO leaders. But before that, he'll be in Halifax, where he's expected to announce which company will build Canada's next submarine fleet. 2 companies, German-Norwegian consortium ThyssenKrupp Marine Systems and South Korea's Hanwha, are competing for the contract to build 12 submarines for the Royal Canadian Navy. The contract also includes 30 to 50 years worth of maintenance and has an estimated value of more than $100 billion over its lifespan. And CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver joins us live from Ottawa with more on today's expected announcement. Annie, this is a big deal. Any details about what Carney's expected to say?
Well, Nathan, today's announcement is really transformational for the Navy. We currently have 4 Victoria-class submarines, but only 1 is fully operational. And the Navy wants to retire those ships by 2035, so it really is urgent. And today we're expected to learn who that preferred bidder is for the federal government. Key industrial sources have told CTV News, who were familiar with this process, that Mark Carney in Halifax today intends to announce that the German-Norway consortium TKMS is going to be moving ahead as Canada's preferred bidder. They have promised to be able to get 4 submarines delivered to Canada by 2036. And in total, they say they can provide about $86 billion worth of GDP assistance in Canada. They have said that they want to invest in the port of Churchill in Manitoba. They intend on building a torpedo plant here in Canada and investing in Canada's energy sector as well. In addition, this is a big contract, roughly more than $100 billion, as he pointed out. Around 20 to 30 billion of that is for the subs itself. Another 40 to 50 billion is for the maintenance, repair, and logistical supports of this subs. One of the things that's interesting here is that the Germans really pushed this consortium to Canada as a way of moving closer to European allies, saying that Germany and Norway are both allies of NATO, so the crews of these ships can all be trained together, they can be interchangeable, and that there's a lot more information that can be shared amongst NATO allies. Of course, the South Korean Hanwha, which was the other one, they are not a member of NATO, and so the Germans were really using their position in NATO with their close relationship with Norway, another NATO ally, to really push the submarines forward. And it seems that that may have played a role as well. And again, this all kind of ties in, as you were saying, to the Prime Minister heading to NATO today, where he's likely to talk about this big purchase agreement and preferred bidder situation with those allies.
All right, CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver in Ottawa. Thank you.
Thank you.
First responders will soon have new protections as measures in the recently passed bail reform bill will make it easier for courts to increase sentences for assaulting a police officer, paramedic, or firefighter.
CTV's Rachel Aiello has more on the changes and why advocates say they are needed.
Hold your head nice and still. First responders show up to help on someone's worst day, but they face unique risks and sometimes violence against them once arriving on scene.
Many first responders are regularly exposed to violence, threats, aggression, traumas, incidents that's part of their work. So these experiences don't always result in physical injuries, but they have lasting effects psychologically.
Though there's now optimism that newly passed changes to the criminal code will help reduce these instances, or at least ensure tougher penalties for perpetrators. Soon, judges will have to consider if a victim of a crime was an on-duty firefighter, paramedic, police officer, or other first responder as an aggravating factor that could increase the sentence.
This is a reactive response, unfortunately, but it's certainly an important step that the government has taken. And by prosecutors and judges putting this out in there and utilizing this new legislation, we're hoping that that becomes preventative in the long run. Not only with the public, but also for our members to make sure they're reporting these incidents so that they gain more traction.
These changes were stitched into the broader Bill C-14, the Bail and Sentencing Reform Act, which received royal assent when Parliament adjourned for the summer in June.
It's a message that violence against first responders will not be tolerated.
The new policy comes into effect on July 15th. Advocates say it's a welcome move, but is just one piece of the puzzle when it comes to improving the day-to-day conditions for Canadian emergency workers.
When you're attacked at work and you're assaulted, scratches, hit with pipes, shot at, that obviously has a negative impact. So making sure there's supports in place to help with those first responders on an ongoing basis is extremely important.
After a recent string of on-the-job police deaths and injuries in his province, Ontario Premier Doug Ford is pushing for a national conversation on the issue when all of Canada's premiers gather later this month in Charlottetown for a Council of the Federation meeting. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
In Ukraine, 21 people were killed in Russian attacks early today. Dozens more were injured. The Ukrainian Air Force says the enemy fired 351 drones and 68 missiles overnight, targeting mainly Kyiv. All 29 ballistic missiles struck their targets. Ukraine's president insists his country has performed well against drones and cruise missiles, but not against ballistic missiles. And Volodymyr Zelensky will likely reiterate a need for more U.S.-made Patriot interceptor missiles during this week's NATO summit. Last Thursday, a Russian strike killed 31 people in Kyiv, the deadliest attack in the capital this year.
In the Middle East, Hamas said today it has dissolved its de facto government in Gaza and signaled it is ready to hand it over to a group of Palestinian technocrats. People in the occupied territory are struggling for food and water and shelter amid a devastating war between Israel and the militant group. The promise by Hamas to relinquish control of government ministries is a key part of the plan for a post-war Gaza set out by U.S. President Donald Trump. The plan was introduced following the start of a ceasefire in October, but violence has continued. Hamas says it will still oversee security and policing in parts of the territory. There was no immediate comment from Israel. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump warned once again today that Iran should make a peace deal sooner rather than later.
We're close to maybe making a deal. I don't know. We'll make either. Look, we're going to win one way or the other. We're either going to make a deal or we're going to finish the job, okay? And it won't be tough to finish the job. I'd rather make a deal because I don't want to affect 91 million people.
Indirect U.S.-Iran talks ended last week without any public sign of progress toward a lasting peace deal. That's despite a 60-day truce intended to create space for diplomacy.
There is controversy ahead of the World Cup round of 16 match between the U.S. and Belgium this evening. The U.S. will have its top scorer, Vaughan, available to play despite the fact he received a red card in America's round of 32 victory, which carries a suspension in the next match. However, FIFA has decided to suspend the one-match ban after U.S. President Donald Trump called FIFA President Gianni Infantino and asked him to review the red card suspension. Belgium and several other countries have criticized the decision. European soccer body UEFA released a statement that reads in part, yesterday's decision to suspend for a probationary period of a year the implementation of the one-match automatic suspension following the red card issued to Vaughan crossed a red line. Football, like any other sports, relies on rules which are the basis for fair, honest, and transparent competition. Sometimes rules are open to interpretation, in this case not. A minimum automatic suspension of one match following a red card is not a discretionary option and does not require the decision of a competent body to be enacted. We express our disbelief at such an unprecedented, incomprehensible, and unjustifiable decision. U.S. President Donald Trump says letting Balogun play is the right decision.
I asked for a review because I didn't think it was a foul. And, again, I'm good at this stuff. I didn't think it was a foul. I thought it was two great athletes that crashed into each other and got entangled. That was not a guy punching somebody in the face or anything that, would be different. And I think it's a terrible, if they wouldn't allow, a top player, maybe the best, maybe among the best players on the team to play, I think it would have had a big stain.
FIFA has rejected Belgium's letter seeking a copy of the decision that makes Balogun eligible for tonight's match. The Royal Belgian Football Association says soccer's governing body refused to respond to a request for an explanation.
The U.S. is the last remaining host country in the tournament after Mexico was ousted by England last night.
Saka, first time he's really got into this kind of area, able to do damage. Bukayo Saka, past Kane, but Bellingham coming in!
Jude Bellingham scored twice in under 2 minutes to give England a 2-0 lead. However, Mexico scored just before halftime. Now, England then went down to 10 men early in the second half. England's Harry Kane scored his 6th goal of the tournament on a penalty to give his squad a 3-1 lead. Mexico scored again, but England was able to hold on for a 3-2 victory. It marked just the 3rd time in 90 matches that Mexico has lost in front of their home crowd at Mexico City's Azteca Stadium.
Holland! Oh, wonderful! He has nailed it for Norway!
England will play Norway in the World Cup quarterfinals. The European nation knocked out 5-time World Cup champion Brazil. Star striker Erling Haaland scored twice to lift his side to a 2-1 victory over the South American squad.
Well, whether you're going to be watching some World Cup action today or maybe participating in some outdoor sports of your own, it looks like the weather should cooperate, at least in most parts of the GTA. This is your evening sports forecast. Lots of sun today, mixed with a bit of cloud cover. Temperatures on the warm side, but not excessively so. For the kids heading to camp tomorrow, here's a look at the forecast. It is expected to be a bit of a cloudy start. Then we'll get some clearing. Wet weather looks unlikely until the end of the week. So coming up, we'll talk about the chances of some rain for Thursday and Friday. That's after this. Stay with us.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Well, here we are heading into an all-new week in July, and you definitely notice it's not as oppressive. We've had a switch, and I think this is nice. I think a lot of people are enjoying a little bit of a reprieve.
For sure. We were getting temperatures felt like in the 40s while you were gone doing whatever it was you were doing. No, so we were really struggling, but at least things are now kind of back to normal. Welcome back, by the way.
Thank you so much. Yes, I was off for a couple of days enjoying some summer vacation without AC. So yes, I was feeling the heat as well as everyone else was here in the GTA. It's been quite a kickoff to summer, a hot one for sure. And we technically have another warm day today, but yeah, nothing compared to what we experienced last week. Perhaps you're on summer holidays this week, so let's give you an idea of what's in store weather-wise. Weather is brought to you by the Presler Law Firm. Injury lawyers, you don't pay unless they win. Now, here's something that's kind of jarring to see on the 6th day of July. Look closely. That looks like a pile of dirt or mud, but this is actually snow left over from the season. There are, I believe, 2 locations in Toronto where the snow gets dumped after big snowfalls. And yeah, it's still sticking around. Somehow this pile of snow in the city of Toronto survived that heat wave last week. It doesn't look very nice, does it? It doesn't really look like snow anymore. We're going to keep an eye on that and see how long it takes for that snow to fully melt into the ground. Today might help. 25 degrees feels like 29 this hour at Pearson Airport. It's a little cooler in Windsor comparatively because there's a bit more cloud and some shower activity across southwest Ontario. It's also been a very active weather pattern the last week or so, in addition to it being very hot. And today, less in the way of severe weather, but we do still have some showers, as mentioned, for areas south of the GTA. Mix of sun and cloud expected for us. 26 degrees will feel more like 33 at the warmest point of the afternoon. Seasonal norm is 27 degrees. Record to beat today is over 36 degrees, so likely not to happen today. But again, we'll keep an eye on those records going forward. Tonight, Dipping below 20 degrees. Once again, that happened last night too. Partly cloudy skies, near normal lows in many areas. And then tomorrow, it's going to be another great day for spending time outside. Bit of cloud cover in the morning. It clears for the afternoon. We're forecasting a high of 27 degrees, feeling more like 32. And it's upper 20 temperatures just about everywhere in southern and southwestern eastern Ontario as well. Looking like a nice summertime day. Wednesday is going to be another hot one, not oppressively so, but near 30 degrees. There's that shower activity and that cloud cover that I mentioned impacting some areas just along the southernmost points of southern Ontario. Big low pressure system stateside, but for us, it's going to be high pressure the next couple of days, keeping us mostly dry. That cold front looks like it's going to move in dry as well. Here is the forecast radar. I'm simply setting this in motion to show you not a whole lot of activity. Next rounds of possible wet weather come on Thursday, starting north of here and then eventually impacting us as the day goes on. Chance of some showers on Friday as well. Temperatures are going to remain in the upper 20s, so that active weather not cooling us down all that much. And then into the weekend, sunny for Saturday with a high of 28 degrees, expecting a little more cloud cover on Sunday. That's the weather for now. Nathan, going to send it back over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. The Blue Jays are continuing their West Coast swing tonight, beginning a series with the San Francisco Giants.
As he lashes the ball to left field, and that's going to be over the head of Arozarena and off the base of the wall. Vladdy on his way to second and in there ahead of the throw.
The Jays lost 4-0 to the Seattle Mariners yesterday, their second straight shutout loss. Kevin Gausman will start for Toronto tonight. First pitch is set for 9:45 Eastern in San Francisco.
The Tempo hosted the Dallas Wings at Coca-Cola Coliseum yesterday afternoon.
Mabry in traffic for three.
Marina Mabry doing what she does, leading the team with 19 points, but the Tempo would end up losing the game 89-76. The team is back on the court Wednesday when they host the Golden State Valkyries.
Toronto swimmer Summer McIntosh has set another record in the pool.
And she will touch in a new world record.
The 19-year-old finished the 200-meter butterfly in 2 minutes, 1.65 seconds at the Canadian trials last night. That's nearly 0.2 of a second faster than the previous record, which was set in 2009. McIntosh's mother, Jill, was also an Olympic swimmer and previously set the record for the 200-meter butterfly in that same pool decades earlier.
Rogers is set to take complete control of Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment. The company has signed a deal to buy the remaining 25% stake in the company from Kilmer Sports, owned by Toronto businessman Larry Tannenbaum, for $4.35 billion. The Maple Leafs, Raptors, Argonauts, and Toronto FC are all owned by MLSE, along with the Marlies and Raptors 905. Rogers also owns the Blue Jays, as well as the Rogers Centre. The deal is expected to be approved in the fourth quarter of this year. Larry Tannenbaum releasing a statement that reads in part, "I'm extremely proud to leave this legacy of excellence, a culture of winning, and a family feeling among all our MLSE employees to be carried on. I thank you for putting your confidence in me. I've always regarded my ownership position as a public trust, for truly these teams belong to you, the best sports fans in the world."
You're watching CTV News at noon. We've got more coming up after the break. Stay with us.
The Annex is one of Toronto's oldest neighborhoods. It has everything: cozy coffee shops, cool old homes, culture, history, the buzz of Bloor, and it is just steps away from the University of Toronto. Philosopher's Walk is a hidden gem on the University of Toronto campus. It's got tree-lined paths, it's giving garden vibes, and it is just steps away from the Royal Conservatory of Music. It's a place you can come in the city that just brings you peace. And if you're into shoes even a little bit, the Bata Shoe Museum is exactly where you need to be. They have over 15,000 pairs of shoes, from ancient Greek sandals to the rise of sneaker culture. There's over 4,000 different types of shoes. Back in 1911, financier Sir Henry Pallett built his dream home, which happened to be Casa Loma, and it's right here in the heart of Toronto. Now it's one of Toronto's most iconic spots, perfect for exploring secret passageways. There are incredible views inside and outside. It's giving that little bit of royal fantasy. Oh, look, there's my throne. Oh, wait, there's my man. The Royal Ontario Museum is one of Canada's oldest museums. Get this, there are over 18 million artifacts and over 40 galleries. You have to come check it out. And yes, the Bat Cave is a fan favorite. It's definitely a spot you don't want to miss. Not there, not there. The Annex is the kind of neighborhood you can walk around, discover something new, and never get bored. So grab your walking shoes and a coffee and explore the Annex. For more information, you can visit our website.
Let's check in once again with CTV's Jessica Smith at Nathan Phillips Square ahead of this afternoon's match between Spain and Portugal. Are fans starting to arrive, Jess?
We've seen a few jerseys here and there, Nathan. It's still pretty early, but you know football fans are die-hard, and there's a lot of people here warming up, getting ready for the game this afternoon. But I'm joined by this wonderful family. Introduce yourself.
Hi, my name's JT.
I'm Fallon. And who are the little ones here?
Amari.
Amari. And what's your name, honey?
Jen.
So you guys are obviously big football fans. I mean, Portugal, Spain, they're two powerhouses. Who do you think is going to take it today? Because it really is anybody's game.
I don't know. I think it can go either way. I cannot pick any favorites today, but maybe Portugal.
Do you have an idea, a favorite?
Oh, Portugal. Yes, of course.
And what about you?
Spain.
The Spain outlier, big Lamine Yamal fan?
Yeah.
And for you, honey, who are you cheering for today?
Spain.
Who's your favorite player? Do you have one on the team? Lamine, maybe? Yeah, I think so. All right, we're going to let them get back to soccer, but it's honestly, it's so much fun. What's been the best part about watching the FIFA kind of fandom take over the city?
I think it's just everyone getting together in so many different cultures, just experiencing one game.
Now, we were talking before we came on camera. I kind of wish there were more games here in the city of Toronto, but what did you notice about just how the city and just like the country came alive?
Oh yeah, it's such a gift to be in Canada. You see all the multiculturalism and all the different countries and everyone uniting. It was so beautiful to see.
It was so much fun. I'll let you guys get back to it because I don't mean to brag, but these are probably two future soccer superstars, football superstars that will play for Team Canada one day. But again, lots of folks out here getting their reps in ahead of the game today at 3 o'clock. But Spain and Portugal, two football powerhouses. We're going to have to wait to see what happens, but it's going to be fun no matter what. Reporting live, I'm Jessica Smith. Michelle, I'll send things back to you.
Thank you, Jess. Well, after confirming a travel-related case of measles, Toronto Public Health has issued a list of times and places where members of the public may have been exposed to the virus. Officials say potential exposures could have happened last Sunday at the Scarborough Health Network General Hospital's ER waiting room, specifically from 7 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Then people may have been exposed the following day at Markington Family Care and Walk-in Clinic between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. On Tuesday, the infected individual was present at the kids' outpatient clinic at Scarborough Health Network General Hospital from 8 to 3. Measles is highly contagious and spreads through the air. Anyone potentially exposed is advised to monitor for symptoms, and officials say those born after 1970 need 2 doses of measles vaccine for the best protection if not previously infected.
Still to come, many federal public servants are starting a new work schedule today. We'll have more on a lack of space for those returning to the office when we come back.
Get Toronto's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
Many federal public servants are starting a new work schedule today, which will see them in the office 4 days a week. But some departments are having trouble finding room for staff. A spokesperson for Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada says most of that department's employees will work on site only 3 days a week as it works to secure office space. Most public servants began working remotely during the COVID-19 pandemic. Core federal employees have been working 3 days in office since 2024.
A pilot project underway in Montreal is looking to support bees brick by brick.
It aims to provide spaces for the pollinators to thrive, even in urban environments. CTV's Anastasia Dextrine has the buzz.
Beyond holding up a building, a brick like this could help to support an entire ecosystem. Specifically designed bee bricks by Brick are being tested as an alternative nesting place for bees.
You can install inside a wall, you can put in the garden, on a post, or wherever you need it. And you have some holes in it of different size where solitary bees can find shelter.
Spokesperson Elodie Jeanne says solitary bees are different from honeybees. They're native to Quebec and they don't live in colonies. They're among the most effective pollinators, but the population has declined.
We have designed out nature from our buildings. They become smoother. A healthy pollinator population requires much more than just this.
She says bees need more green spaces and pesticide-free environments to thrive. And with bee bricks allowing people to plant inside building facades, they could be the building block to solving an environmental problem. So Brick is calling on those who are interested to reach out.
It's an invitation to talk about not only about the bees, but about our relationship with being urban and trying to introduce nature into our cities.
The team says the weather-resistant bricks are best placed where they'll receive sunlight. They must be installed at a certain height and routinely cleaned.
I have a bit less than 20% who raise their hand, but we'd have to see if it's a good place to install it, and we'd have to. I think we would try also to have a good variety of, place.
The team plans to evaluate the results of the pilot project over the next 2 years. Anastasia Dextrine, CTV News.
The latest Minions film topped the weekend box office. Minions and Monsters brought in $36.4 million between Friday and Sunday, and a total of $61.4 million since its opening Wednesday. It's the 7th film in the Despicable Me franchise and knocked Toy Story 5 from the top spot. That film brought in $31 million. Meanwhile, U.S. war drama Young Washington rounded out the top 3 with nearly $21 million.
Coming up, taking a ride on a robotic beaver. A BC couple is using their crafting skills to celebrate Canada in a unique way. Canada Day was last week, but people are continuing to showcase their love for the country in unique ways.
CTV's Adam Sawatsky has more on a BC couple who have used their crafting skills to share their joy.
When you stop to wonder what Janet Mader's carrying.
These are robot wildlife.
And she introduces the robot goose as Gustav, before mentioning the robot loon is named after an iconic singer.
This is Celine Dion.
And then David Bino tells you they have a third animatronic animal.
Yeah, we've got an electric beaver.
You're grateful they agree for you to follow them into their hack space and meet who they named after a former prime minister.
His name's Lester Beaver Pearson, because Canadian history nerds and bad puns.
But also because David and Janet simply thought it would be funny to make Lester Beaver Pearson rideable.
Oh, it's hilarious.
So Janet figured out new welding techniques, while David learned all about electronics.
Whenever I get stuck kind of thing, she can usually find a way out and vice versa.
And while the other animals are featured at combat robot tournaments, with Gustav the Goose performing the halftime show and Celine Dion singing the national anthem in both official languages, Lester Beaver Pearson makes appearances all over the place.
I personally just like to inject little bits of joy.
A couple of David and Janet's friends rode the beaver during their Canadian citizenship ceremonies over Zoom.
So they can feel like that much more Canadian while taking their oath of citizenship.
And then a bunch of their neighbors borrowed them for a nonagenarian's birthday. That's a 90-year-old's.
Nonagenarian beaver rodeo is a phrase I never thought would enter my lexicon, but it was amazing.
But best of all is when they take the beaver out in public to build a community by offering rides to strangers.
So nice to see that you're making somebody smile, because there is so much awfulness. So it feels really important, being kind.
Like our country was created by all sorts of different people coming together to make this mosaic we call Canada, Janet and David are hoping to inspire others to build all sorts of things to make our communities more fun.
It's kind of a wonderful time to be alive, really.
Adam Sawatsky, CTV News.
See, that made me dizzy, all that spinning.
This is one of those stories where if you're at home, you have the sound off, you're wondering, what is that about? Oh, well, very patriotic, and what a solid summer day. And I think it's more bearable because we're kind of hardy now.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been through the summertime heat. I don't know, maybe that's the hottest stretch of summer. Who knows? There's still a lot of summer to go, but today we're much more seasonal. And this is a look at what we can expect tomorrow. 27 degrees will feel like 32, so another nice summertime afternoon ahead. In fact, the next 3 days are looking warm. 30 degrees on Wednesday with wall-to-wall sunshine. Thursday, we're going to start to watch for some active weather, not those severe thunderstorms like we had last week. It looks like some showers, possibly Friday too, with some cloudy skies, but the sun is back out for Saturday. Could see a bit of an increase in cloud cover again on Sunday. Nathan and Michelle.
All right. Thank you, Lindsay. And that is it for CTV News at noon. Remember, you can get Toronto's breaking news all day long on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and all of us here, have a pleasant afternoon. I'm Michelle Dubé.
And I'm Nathan Downer. Be sure to join us later for CTV News at 5 and 6. Have a great day.